Alright, welcome to the Scratch programming tutorial number 2. Just like in the first video, I'm going to go to scratch.mit.edu. I'm going to create a new file, and when it creates the project, alright, here we go, it's a hurricane problem. In this scenario, we have 15 tropical storms. They've got a 50% chance of turning into a hurricane, and then the hurricanes have a 1/3 chance of hitting the East Coast. I tried to make a cute little hurricane object there. So we're going to try and count how many times the hurricanes hit the East Coast. So I'm going to create a new variable called tropical storm, because remember, we're starting with a tropical storm, and there needs to be a 50% chance that the storm turns into a hurricane. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to randomly assign the value of tropical storm to either 1 or 2. And then, basically, if it's a 1, I'm going to say we're safe, and if it's a 2, that becomes a hurricane. So I'll launch it all with by hitting the spacebar, and let's throw in an if-then command. Alright, so again, the tropical storms have a 50% chance of becoming a hurricane. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up this logic command that says if the tropical storm equals 1, let's make the cat, or I guess or the hurricane in this case, let's make the hurricane thing say safe, because there was no hurricane, right? Now, if the dice roll, if the random number is a 2, that means the storm has turned into a hurricane. So let me go ahead and hit the spacebar a couple of times and make sure that it's kind of generating a 50% chance of hurricane. It looks like it's working okay. So remember, if it's a hurricane, we have another decision to make. So I'm going to create a new variable, and this time I'll just create a hurricane variable. The hurricanes have a 1/3 chance of hitting the East Coast. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to randomly generate a new number from 1 to 3. And how about we say 1 is a hurricane, 2s and 3s are safe. So I'm going to grab another little logic block over here, and I'm going to say if the value of hurricane, if it's greater than 1, so basically the 2s and the 3s, we're safe. It's a hurricane, but it missed us. It did not hit the East Coast. So we're safe. Alright, but if the random number generated is a 1, that means it's a hit. That means the hurricane, the storm turned into a hurricane and the hurricane hit the East Coast. So, now I've got everything set up. Let me hit the spacebar a couple of times so I can see if I'm successfully hitting the East Coast, not hitting the East Coast, not even being a hurricane. It looks like that seems to be running okay. So now I just need to generate 15 storms, so I need to grab a repeat block, and I'm going to, now let's make a variable first. Let's make a hurricane hit counter. We'll start the hurricane hit counter up at 0, because at the very beginning of the season you have no hurricanes. But then, if the hurricane, if a storm actually turns into a hurricane and hits the East Coast, I'm going to make it change the value of that variable by 1. So basically it's starting off at 0, and every time we get a hurricane that hits the East Coast, I'm going to check it up by 1. And so if you hit space a couple of times, you can see when there's a hit, indeed, there is the hurricane hit counter turns into a 1. Now's the time when I need to actually make 15 of these storms happen, so I'm going to grab a repeat block, tell it to repeat 15 times, and now when I smash the spacebar, it should run through 15 trials, and I think it should be counting the total number of... Oh, yep, sorry, I was put the repeat block in the wrong spot. There you go. I need to reset the hit counter, then run the 15 storms. Okay, sorry. There we go. Now it's working fine, right? Yeah. Looks like it's running through 15 storms and tallying up the number of hurricanes that hit the East Coast. This last case looks like there were 4 hurricanes that hit the East Coast. All right. So once you get your simulation running, then yeah, it's just time to store those simulation results somewhere. So I created a list called simulation results, and remember I need to repeat this entire process like 500 times. So I'm going to tell Scratch to store the number of hurricanes into the list. Every time I hit the spacebar, that seems to be happening. It's counting up the number of hurricanes that hit the East Coast, storing that in the list. So now I just need to do that 500 times. So either I need to hit the spacebar 500 times, or I need another repeat block. So let me drag a repeat block around the whole shebang, tell it to repeat 500 times. I already have some numbers in the list, so maybe it's a good idea to, maybe I'm going to clear out the list beforehand. Start with get a fresh start every time, and then hit the 500 button. And that's working. I'm speeding this up because this actually took longer than I thought. This actually took about 7 minutes to run through all 500 trials. It's doing a lot, but it's, there you go, I sped up the video. There we go, there's my 500 trials. So, just like in the last video, I'm going to export, right-click and export those results. And now I have 500 trials. I'm going to copy and paste them into Staplet.com. Click on one quantitative variable. Variable name, I guess, is hurricanes that hit the East Coast. I'm going to paste in my data and mash go. And look at that. It looks like the maximum number of hurricanes was 8. Of course, I can change this to a histogram. Change the bin width. I could do a bot. Ooh, I got some outliers there. Nice. And then down there, you got the summary statistics. The mean, standard deviation, 5-number summary. You could probably tie that into the outliers. But that concludes example number 2.